Welcome to Dealer Talk with Jen Suzuki, where inspiration meets action. This is your spot to grow, level up, and lead with fresh ideas. From sales to service, from frontline teams to executives, we're dropping weekly knowledge and insight to keep your store sharp, relevant, and profitable. Let's get into it. Well, welcome back, listeners. I've got Ryan Rohrman, CEO of Rohrman Automotive Group. He's with me today. I got to tell you, I have seen him on CBT News, and you know, I'm a local regular on CBT News, and I was actually taken back. I thought he was such a great speaker, and then I got to follow him on LinkedIn, and I just was really impressed by his leadership and how he scales a successful business and fosters these genuine connections. He's always preaching CX, customer experience. I was like, there's our parallel. This is my guy. And everything is all about creating, memorable experiences for both customers and team members in the organization. So we're going to just dive into these human interactions that continue to remain the cornerstone of exceptional service, even as all this technology is entering the scene. Welcome, Ryan.
Awesome. Hey, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be on the show and have a great conversation. It's going to be fun.
Thank you. Well, I was just recently reading, and I really admired this. Sometimes, people can, in family businesses, there can be some friction. It's definitely not easy. I've watched a lot of my friends in family dealers, run across many obstacles. But I read a post of yours recently, and it hit home for me. It was like talking about your grandfather who founded Rohrman Automotive Group over 60 years ago, and really praising some of the memorable impressions he's made on you and how you carry yourself in business. And I just want to know, how do you honor that legacy while you're steering that company, this huge company, many dealerships, towards growth?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think legacy to me is really, really important. You cannot forget where you came from. I think it's really imperative. I also, there's this phrase that has stuck with me. I heard this like 15 years ago. There's no success without succession. I really, really like that. It resonates well with like my mentality and my leadership style. And like when I combine the thought of legacy with that, it's this concept of you have this foundation. And, many, many times foundations, when they're poor, they're as strong as they could potentially be at that time. And over time, you have to strengthen it sometimes, but the foundation never goes away. Like you're constantly
building your core.
Yes, your core. You're constantly building on what was set before you. And my grandfather, he did a phenomenal job of that. And I'm a third gen car guy, and I know second gen, I know third gens. Actually, I talked with a fourth gen guy today. That's a first for me. And not everyone has equal foundations, and it's easy sometimes to get away from the foundation as well. So it's really, really important to me. I think it's also unifying inside of a family business to never forget your founder, because there's going to be differing opinions over time. But at least in my family, my grandfather, patriarch role inside the Rohrman family, he was a unifier. Like he unified our family. And so because he had such a big personality and because he laid this big foundation, I find it it's almost like calming to know I can rely on that, and I can rely on that. That's a unifier for our organization and our company. So, the foundation that was set by these, my grandfather, just a great mind inside of automotive. His success was to build that, and then our success is to take it, not forget it, and see what we can do to make it better. So
stack on it, continue to stay relevant.
Yeah.
Inject new technologies that continue to make you more efficient, productive, unify the team members so they're building their skill sets at all times.
Absolutely. It's all about that. At any time, I like the concept of like being sticky, and and we want to be sticky. I think a lot of times when people talk about, I'm excited to talk about CX with you, but it's on both sides. Like CX is real for my customers for sure. Like that's what everyone talks about, but it's just as real for
team
employees.
members.
Yeah. I mean, I have just shy of 1,400 folks that work for the Rohrman Auto Group, and we got to live it out to them because we're asking them to do it to our customers. And it goes both ways. You cannot have expectations of CX that are awesome.
If you're not doing it inside.
You're not doing it for your own people. And so that's all part of that. So it's just sticky on both sides.
Well, we fight against, turnover. It's just been a common thread in the car business.
Yeah.
And I think that as younger generations come in, what I notice is that a lot of things change. I just left a third gen dealer on Friday, and she instituted a 4-day work week, not for managers yet, but for salespeople. And that is wild. And it's not like it just started. She's actually had this going on for at least the last couple of years, but she's attracted extraordinary talent. We've seen a lot of great managers who want to have that flexibility with their home life. Nobody cared about people's home life. Not when I started selling cars. Never.
Yeah. If you asked about a day off, you just didn't get the job, So
right. You're fired.
Yeah.
You want a vacation? I don't think so.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And those legacy thinkers still remain and prevent us from staying progressive and relevant. And that was just an example, of changing with the times, but thinking about your team members and thinking about what they need. And life changes. But, if we always do the same old things because we always do it this way, that sort of thinking recesses everybody's opportunities, and we're trying to win over here.
I love it. Yeah. Like the terminology that we like to use inside of the auto group is change management. Like that's, we really try, like, so 2018 is when I took over the auto group in the role that I have right now. And we were very stiff. And what I mean by that, it's like, if we wanted to change like the CRM platform, that was a scary thing. Like it was like, oh no, we're changing the CRM, and so I did. I was like, we're going to change our CRM. We're going to do it across the board, and it wasn't great, but it was fine, and I was like, all right, we need to be able to adapt faster. The auto business changes so fast. I mean, just look at the COVID years,
Exactly.
Look back to Cash for Clunkers. Look at 2008, prior to Cash for Clunkers, when we were in that recessive time. I mean, the auto business you have to be able to see what's coming at you and be able to say, I need to pivot right now. And so if you don't build your business that way, in my opinion, that's a problem. And so and this does not happen overnight. It takes time to get your people almost to the point you want them to be like, Ryan, what are you bringing next? And like,
yes.
It almost gets to the point where it's exhausting, because now it's like, do we really want more change this year? And so, that describes a lot of the last 8 years, but like my team, and when I say my team, I mean my team members, like all 1,300 plus of them, they are ready for anything that I bring to the table. And it's because we've instilled this mindset of change management. Hey, how can we be adaptive? How can we just have a mindset of, I'm ready at a drop of a hat, drop of a pin, when something shifts, and whether that's new tech, and so like part of who we are, we love innovation, and like not all innovation is good innovation. So, I mean, we try things and it fails, and it's like, all right, so we have to be just as fast to recognize that didn't work. We're not going to just, hey, let's just make it work. No, that's like, I hate that. That's, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And it doesn't mean the tech's bad. It just means it might not fit the culture and the flow of the business that we tried to adapt it into. And so it's just, what does it look like to build that change management mindset? And it's a trickle down effect. Like, it's great if your directors like it. but it doesn't work if your GMs don't. So you have to, for me, what I've experienced is it's a lot of touch points. So stores, and I spend a lot of time with everyone in the store, because I want them to know what they're a part of, and I want them to feel it and to feel like they are a part of something that's bigger than them. And I think that also touches on what you said, which is the longevity of our tenure issue inside of automotive. In 2018, my average tenure, unfortunately, was about 2.5 years. So that was my average Rohrman employee. If we could get them past 2.5 years, it's a terrible number. So right now we're just shy of 5. We're like 4.87 or something like that. And so it takes a long time to move tenure. Because you need years to make years go up. And so, my goal from the get-go is to get to 7 as an average. And so we'll see how long that takes, but that's where I want to get to. But all these things build into that. So
you're moving in the right direction. I change management. This is the title. This is the initiative. And I really like this because it says a lot. It says the future all over it to me. And here's what I really like about what you said. This is about grooming mentality in an organization at all levels. Grooming a mentality of, hey, we know that we have to embrace new products, new processes, new people, new ways of doing things. And we have to challenge ourselves to say yes. Yes, let's give it a go. It may not end up being the right thing, but how would we know if we don't try? And when you do institute that, and what you've watched this thing is now you've groomed a mentality to where people are actually saying, hey, we should try this. Hey, we should try. You couldn't be in a better position, because a lot of times in the past, people don't want to try new things because they got their groove on, and the groove is making them money. And listen, auto car business, they don't not make money. So when you see AI jump on the scene, and this will probably be the hottest topic, it's already annoying because it's everywhere, but we're just getting started. And so in an era dominated now by AI and automation, how do you ensure that your dealerships are going to maintain that genuine human connection with customers? And how are you trickling that down into the team members? So we're embracing AI, we're embracing automation, and at the same time, keeping those legacy thinking that your grandfather instituted intact. Human connection.
Yeah. Great question. I think I would I have an answer. And before I give the answer, I would say you could ask me this in 2 weeks and there could be slight shifts to it just because this is changing so rapidly right
Totally.
now. So first thing I would say, what is the role of AI inside of a dealership? In my opinion, AI, it's a setup. So it's a setup for the experience. So everything that AI is doing, whether it's in sales or whether it's in service, we gear it so that it's trying to get you as the consumer ready for an awesome experience. It's not to sell you a car. It is not to sell you service. It is to be the most transparent tool possible to answer. I don't want to downplay questions, but mundane questions that we can answer 24/7.
Agreed.
Anytime you want, we can answer that question. And I believe that is just building the image that we're trying to build inside of the Rohrman Auto Group. And that's transparency is huge for us. So our core values, it spells out the word tips. So we say we work for tips, and tips is transparency, innovation, personableness, and servant-mindedness. That is our core value, core values. So, AI, we filter it through all that. And so, being transparent, I think AI, it does a great job of transparency because it's just without a doubt, you ask a question, you get an answer.
That's
and
right.
To the best ability of that AI that you're using, it's going real time all over the internet and trying to provide the best answer to the consumer. And I think
that's often better than the inconsistencies of our front line.
It can answer questions better than me. I agree. I love cars. I am passionate about vehicles. Ever since I was a kid, I just love cars. But if I ask it a question, I'm just oh, that's pretty good. That's a good answer. It has rich detail. And it's a setup. So
Mm-hmm.
it's setting it up so that by the time that human interaction happens, whether it's a takeover, so we're seeing right now about 10 to 15% of our appointments for sales can be driven by AI. Like
Sure.
it
Same thing with service appointments, right?
yeah, it's a
Small
very similar
percentage.
stat. Yeah, very similar
Mm-hmm.
stat. But
Mm-hmm.
that means human interaction is paramount because
Yeah.
it's the other 85%,
Yeah, it's the other side of the coin.
Yes. And so it's the handoff, and
Mm-hmm.
that's the hard part. It's how do we, because I think this is really important too. We miss this.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say we don't have this down every single time. It's how do I make the conversation that the consumer has already had not feel cheapened by the handoff? And what I mean by that is multiple things. So, number one, it's a pet peeve of mine that we start the customer over.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Oh, the
the
system
customer,
reset, I call it.
yes, this sure, that's
The
great.
BDC handoff, for example.
Oh, it's brutal. Like
Yeah.
I listen to calls, or if I'm in a store, I can hear it and I can just see the consumer. I'm just like, you spent 28 days.
Fizzling.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Like Google says the average consumer is 28 days in researching before they hit a submit or before they pick up a phone to make a call. So we basically, and then they're interacting with our AI. We
Mm-hmm.
basically just say, yeah, that was just a waste of your time.
Yeah,
So
we're gonna ask you the
over.
same questions all over again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we wonder why we get a bad survey. And it's like, well, because the consumer
You
used
wasted my
all our
time.
tools. Yeah, we
Yeah.
had those tools for them to use, and they worked great. And it was a setup. Like
Yeah.
we coach a lot, and we spend a lot of time coaching, and we spend a lot of time with like this. Hey, Jen, with the technology that we have today,
Mm-hmm.
where are you at in your journey on this car? It looks like you've picked the car out, the color, even the trim. It looks like you might even messed around with our calculator. Like, what do you want to accomplish today? Do
What's
you,
your next step?
yeah, do you want to talk more about that? Do you want to
Mm-hmm.
drive the car? Some of my customers, you just want to go out in the finance and purchase it and be out of here in 15 minutes. So
Yeah, pick up where they left off.
Yeah, where do you find yourself today? And like if we could do that 100% of the time, the customer, they're like, like they're like, great, finally, Ryan, I just want to see it. And then I'm ready to buy it. If everything online is the way it is, I'm fine with that. And I'm ready to move forward. And it's like, great. Like we're not selling cars anymore. We're guiding. We're the consumer guide, because
Agreed.
Yeah. So
It's
that's
about
how
customer
it is.
experience. And I hate to say that over and over and over, but that's what that is.
It's what it is.
Yeah.
Unless there's still some customers that love the old school haggle back and forth and the
They're out there.
2 to 3 hour car purchase. Like I think that's a minority. Like I really do. And every year passes, the minority gets smaller inside of that. The average consumer right now, the greatest asset we all have is time, and we can't make more of it. And so it's don't waste my time.
The best use.
That's right. It's efficiencies. It's don't waste my time, but I still want to have fun. This is still a really big purchase. Maybe the second biggest purchase, but besides my house in my lifetime. So I don't want to deal with a robot. We were talking. We did this training. I was speaking into all our sales staff like 2 weeks ago, and the first point was conversation before conversion, and the whole thing was like we are good at converting, but that doesn't mean the consumer enjoyed it. Like what we're trying to coach on is if the conversation can be so rich so that at the end of it, and oh, by the way, I took a car home today. Like that's a good experience. Like that's what we're trying to coach on. And that's a challenge for some people. Like some people are they're gifted at relations and just having a conversation. And some people are great at the converting side of it, but it's a mixture of doing both really well. And that is great customer experience, I think.
So how do you balance that? Give me an example, like say chat AI. You know what I mean? Like you've got a chat, things going, and you want to be thinking, how can it do some of the heavy lifting of redundancy or, easy questions that, anybody could answer,
Well,
and then leverage it into that personalized service.
I just go back to, you, the dealer, and with all the, I talk about tech stack a lot
Yes.
on my LinkedIn page. And so you control your tech stack. So, and what I mean by that is you get to control how much information you want to go out, what information they can answer. You don't want to talk about price or whatever. Like, I'm looking for more of how much can you do? And I don't want to limit it. It's just, can you do it well? Because I just go back to that. It's about speed. It's about transparency. And if the consumer wants to buy a car through chat, who am I to slow them down on that? Like, I just think it's all about the consumer, the customer experience side of it is, when does my staff enter? Like, because it's different for everyone. Like some folks, some customers, they want to enter before numbers. Okay, fine. Can we do that in a way that is excellent, right? Some folks, they're very confident in what they want, and they'll buy that car all the way down to maybe, I don't want to do paperwork digitally right now. I want to come to the store to do paperwork. Okay, fine. Can we handle that handoff so that when they come in, it's like, your car's clean. This is your finance manager, Matt. Your stuff's printed. Unless you want to buy some finance products, you'll be out of here in like 5 to 10 minutes, right? So I think that is, is paramount. Is inside your tech stack, are you, again, change management? Are you nimble enough to let the experience be dictated on the consumer's wants and needs, and not like, we don't need to have every consumer go down like Ryan's buying process, because that's not great for most
it's only
people.
one way.
Yeah,
There's many ways.
I would enjoy that, but that doesn't mean you would or anyone else would. It's like,
you gotta have all the doors open.
Yeah, it's your car experience. So is my tech able to cater to the way you want to experience buying this car? And you're going to pull me in as a sales associate when you're ready for it. And then it's, as you pull me in, I'm not going to, like you said, that great reset. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to meet you at where you're at, and I'm going to help get you where you want to go, whether that's answering a question you couldn't figure out or purchasing the car.
And I think that the key here too is that staff, understands the technology. Because a lot of times, dealers, and we're notorious for this, we just buy whatever sounds like, looks good, shiny, learned about it in my 20 group, plug it in. Nobody gets trained on it. Nobody knows. There's no process, or there's no accountability, no measurement. And then it's just kind of sits there. And sometimes that actually is counterproductive, because the customer's using it and nobody gets it. It's just like when they started plugging in like AutoFi and Roadster and things like this, and not looking at the history. Everybody, and then they put put these opportunities into the BDC, and they would just work it like a regular lead. And it's like, wait a second, there's breadcrumbs over there. There's breadcrumbs. We didn't read the breadcrumbs. You can't reset and start over. But if everybody's trained, then then we don't know what to look for in order to be able to pick back up where that customer left off, and train them on the right questions that help them bridge, so it doesn't feel like a system reset. And a lot of times I run it parallel to a sales BDC, making the connections, building the relationships, chasing these people for 3 weeks, 3 months. They got they know everything. They know exactly how to sell them a car. And a customer comes in and the salesperson says, "What can I help you with?" It's like, you didn't know? You didn't know? You're just going to ask me all the same questions? This is crazy.
So we don't have BDCs anymore in any of our stores. So sales handle that because they can dictate the whole customer journey. Sure. I have BDCs in service for that, but I don't. Yes, I love it. Service BDC, huge believer. Sales
it's
BDC,
the heart of the company.
Yeah, it 100%.
That's what I say.
We can talk about service forever. I love it.
Me too.
But sales BDC, it's in my opinion, what is the salesperson supposed to do if you have a very robust BDC department? Like, I don't need you just to twiddle your thumbs and wait for them to set up everything for you. I need to gear your day around, what does it look like for you to handle task completion? Because that's really what we're managing is, can you handle task completion well? So the one thing you said that really resonates with me is when we onboard new tools, it's how do we train on it? And so that is a hurdle that every single auto group has to overcome. And so in 2018, I did this as well. We were training every sales team in every state every month. And we did that, and it was exhausting. On top of other meetings we were holding, there was 3 of us who committed to doing this. And it was like, there has to be a better way. So we created our own LMS system, built it from the scratch.
Wow.
Yep. So, and Rohrman Academy, we have our own app. They can do all the tests to become certified.
Training platform.
That's what
learning
it is.
Management system for our listeners.
Yes. Sorry. So many acronyms. Learning management system. And we update it all the time. And then I still love in-person training. So 4 times a year, we have events called a recharge. It's Rohrman Recharge. That's what I was talking about this 2 weeks ago. So we do two of those in every region that we're in. And we hit every single employee that is customer facing.
Amazing.
And so we'll video a lot of that content and we can build it into the LMS for additional content too. And
keep everybody up to date.
That's right.
Everyone's got the memo.
Hey, 4 times a year, and we make it really fun. Like the one we just did was it was around Let's Make a Deal, the game show host. It was wild. Like I don't always get involved with like the gamification of stuff. I'm I open it, I close it, and I'll train on stuff. But at one time I was sitting next to my CFO in Chicago, and I looked up and I was like, what is happening right now? There's bubbles flying through the air and candy bars, and there's people like dressed like trees and like hot dogs running around. I was like, what is this? But you know what? The staff loved it. It's just so we
got to think outside the average.
They got to have fun,
Yeah. Well, we live in a world of ADD, so I know I use gamification regularly, but what he's saying is that inside his learning platform for his organization that they're plugging in gamification to make learning fun and engaging and interactive. And quite frankly, I think you have to do things that how do you know it's going to work if you don't try it? And, people might think, oh, that's weird at first, but next thing you know, they're making their own games.
They want more of it. It's like,
I know they do. They love this.
They love it. And they're like, it's like, will you wear a costume? And like, oh, yeah, come on, just try it. You like it. And 15 minutes later, they're dancing on stage and you're like, there it is. It's like, let's break these walls down and let's get real, and and what I love about it is it's also how you fight turnover. It's sometimes people just feel isolated inside the stores. And so the other thing we do with Recharge, we don't have it in a dealership. So in each market, we have convention centers, thankfully, and we rent the convention center. Even though we have conference rooms that could hold them, we don't want any of the excuses. Hey, we feed them lunch. We start at 10. We normally get done around 3 or 4. And it's a fun event, and it's.
And I love that you video it for the people who missed it and put it into the Learning Hub where people can get a chance to experience what that was like. Yeah. I first I misunderstood. I thought you were talking about creating a hot dog costume in an actual game in your training. I'm like, yes, that sounds awesome. I use Kahoot, and they have characters, so I was correlating to that. But no, you actually meant we get people actually coming to our meetings, having fun, contests, game. Yeah, I love all this. This is fun. I always believe in making learning fun, and I think in the dealerships a lot of times, it's not. We're doing deals. We're trying to close deals, and things fall apart. There's a lot of heat, and there are all sorts of moving parts, and it's not fun all the time. But when it comes to getting outside the dealership and having a company meeting that's to build skill sets that can be fun, contest driven. Yes, that's a win.
Well, you'll like
not
this.
Everybody does this.
No. Well, it's not cheap, right? I mean, like
no.
You have to spend money.
You have to believe in people.
You do. I mean, you have to care. I mean, that you have to care. I think from like my perspective, like you got to care. Like if you care about your people, and I tell them, I say, I care about every single man and woman in this. I truly do. I want what's best for you. I'm trying to do this so that you can better your life. Even if the car business, I tell them this, some of you in this room, this is not a long-term gig for you. And that's
Mm-hmm.
okay. I still want it to be great, but for other, if you want to be long-term, that's great too. Like,
Mm-hmm.
let me help you figure out how you can get it better, faster, So I think you'll like this piece.
Mm-hmm.
In 2018, when I took over, I just knew we had this opportunity to rebrand ourselves. And so I hired this outside coach, and I think there was like 15 of us. So some of my long-term GMs
Mm-hmm.
and my director team, and we needed I was like, guys,
Mm-hmm.
we just got our core values, which is, I shared that with you as tips. I was like, we need a purpose statement. Like, we need something to, like, this is going to fuel everything we do. And so I hired this guy. We met in Maryville, Indiana, which is like a middle point between all our stores. And he shut the door and he goes, all right, there's white, like big white sticky pads of paper all over
Yep.
this room. And he goes, just go start writing stuff down. And so after like 30 or 40 minutes, the room was filled with just sayings and sentences and ideas and pictures. And so then we tried to, like, a lot of things were like similar. So we're like,
Mm-hmm.
all right. So after all that, we had like a paragraph. And it was like, all right, a purpose statement, that's way too long. It cannot
Mm-hmm.
be a paragraph. And so more time went by, we started knocking stuff out. So long story short, we created our purpose statement: driving relationships, awesome experiences, period. And so we say, in all that we do, we want to drive relationships and have awesome experiences. And that's not just with our customers, it's with our employees as well. And like, that is our heartbeat around everything. And
Yeah.
CX on both sides comes out of that. And it's not just a sentence. It truly is our mindset. And that helps us out. And a lot that we do is, if I go to these training events, I'm just like, team, what's our purpose statement? They know it. I mean, they say it back to me. I'm just like, are we doing it? Like, like, that's the question. Like, are you doing it? Like, this around you, the bubbles. Like, I'm trying to create an awesome experience for you and drive this relationship forward inside of these walls. And so I don't know. I love that. And it's just about
Me too.
Yeah.
Here's what I like about this. I love that you brought in others that are part of this organization, and their word matters. And everybody got to brainstorming, and now you got to take those flip chart papers and put them into AI, and then it would have told you what to say. No, I'm only kidding.
We didn't have AI yet.
You could have seen the similarities and parallels. But no, I like that everybody kind of came up with this together, and it becomes a principle, a thing that you can fall back on. So I'll give you a quick example. So I like this, and by the way, anybody can do this at any time. Even if you don't have this in place, or you need to change it, update it, like, get your team members together and like, is this still valid? Whatever you're saying is. And it doesn't always have to be like this forever. But anyways, if the management is coaching on, say, sales process, service process, they're reading emails, they're reading tests, they're watching videos, they're looking at what that customer experience looks like, you can always go back and say, part of our checklist is this focused on these relationships, is this awesome experience? And you can kind of tie it back all the time and say, is it matching up with what we're all about?
100%.
And I really like that.
Yeah, it's so relatable. You can pull it back, like, you can pull it back to everything that we do.
Yeah.
That's why I just like it so much. Like, I'll look at one of my team members, if we're like planning an event, I'm just like, it's good. It's not awesome. Like,
I love that.
Some of my executive team, they're tighter because, like, the joke is, like, Ryan never likes, like, the first time we do something new, he's always going to press us to do it better next time around. And, like, I don't even need to say it anymore. I look at him as like, I don't do that anymore. And you're like, you don't need to, because you've coached us to we do it internally anyways. I was like, well, that's your thing, not mine.
Level up.
But they believe in it. It's like, after a while, that's really good coaching, right? After a while, I don't need to tell you.
No, of course not.
Do the same thing. Like,
you've said it enough, you've proved it, you've demonstrated it, you've taken action repeatedly.
Yeah.
It's a habit now.
Move on. I can go coach something else now because that play, you have it down. So let's just keep doing it well, and we'll touch on it here and there, so it doesn't we'll dust any dust off of it, we'll keep it relevant, but it lets us move on and coach on other things and build other skill sets and so on and so forth.
Well, that gets me to thinking, again, back to your leadership and thinking about technology today, because it is moving and it's hijacking. And here's the thing. I say this regularly, especially with leadership. I say, even if the product doesn't work, you can't ditch it right away. AI is evolving. It's not perfect. It's not like the products we've bought in the past where we expect it to do its job. CRM, expect it to do its job, but AI is transforming as we speak, and it doesn't execute exactly the same way every time. And there are still problems. It's still early. But if you're not involved in it, then how do you know what the evolution looks like? I always say, don't abandon. You got to stay involved, because you have to understand how it's evolving. You got to be right there. So as you're watching the industry rapidly evolve here, how do you help your leadership stay innovative enough to want to try new things and actually rock the ship? How do you inspire them to look for the next best thing, to try, to not abandon, to get involved in it? Because a lot of times with AI, they set it and forget it, and you think, oh, the AI is going to set appointments, the AI is going to do this, and it's like, well, if you're not managing it, you're not actually, it's another person, if you're not managing how it's actually executing, how do you know it's actually working or it's not working, or does something need to change? And I feel like you have to be dialed into this stuff, like locked in.
You do. I think, you asked me a lot of questions in that. And so I would say the thing that I've learned in the past 18 months, so, we don't have to talk about this, but was this whole CDP journey that I've been on. And what I learned is I don't know as much as I thought I knew about automotive.
That's real.
And for sure technology. And so and I honestly, to the point of like mind blown, so like the partner that we have is Telium, and they're like, Ryan, you should come out to our conference. And I was like, it's automotive? And they're like, nope. And I was like, who's going to be there? And they're like, Snapchat, Etsy, Abercrombie and Fitch, Alaska Airlines. They're huge. I'm just like, you want me to come out to that? And they're like, so I went out. I feel like the scales were like removed from my eyes. I'm just like, okay. So the technology that I think is really new right now is it's 10 to 15 years old. It's just new for automotive. And then I'm just like, what else am I missing? So then I started going. So like I stopped going to automotive conferences and started going to tech conferences. So I went to the Snowflake conference.
Great.
In
Yes.
San Francisco, which is cool. They asked me to speak at it, so that helped too. But I was like there, oh my word. I'm so dumb. What they're talking about is like so far over my head. I'm just like, wait. So
these are customer data platforms, by the way.
Well, Snowflake is, so Telium, yes. Snowflake is a data lake. So So it's not the same as a CDP, but we have both, so they work together. But Snowflake is a monster. So this was a global. There's 20,000 people at this thing. So if you've been to I'm sure you've been to it, the NADA that they used to have in San Fran, they don't anymore.
Right.
They filled the same space of both conference convention centers for this one event, right? And it was full of vendors. None of them really in the auto space, all tech companies. And it was like, where do you start? And honestly, the hardest thing is they're so far advanced, the outdated stuff that we have in automotive, it can't connect. It won't work. Like they have to dummy their system down to make it work inside, unless you change stuff around, and what you can. I mean, that's, if you have that, like, again, like if you go to the route of like having that golden file, which your DMS cannot be because you can't write back to it, you can actually start ingesting tech outside of auto, which is, now we're having a really fun conversation, right? But your question, how do you stay relevant? This is how I answer that question. Like, it's, if you go to the same auto conferences,
I love this.
do the same thing every year.
Same messages, same people, same
I'm not
products.
saying they're bad.
No.
There's good tech companies inside of these, but
But there's a new world out there.
there's so much more. Yeah.
Actually,
And
that challenges your thinking as a leader is
it
to see
does.
what is actually out there. Because when these newer products to automotive start landing and they're coming in hot,
Yes.
you have to be able to vet them and say, okay, wait, does it do this? Wait, does it do this? And you have to challenge these guys because they're actually reshaping automotive,
One,
with each of these tech tools. So you have to, if you're not going to run alongside these guys and support them,
yes.
then it's not going to work for anybody.
Nope.
But I could see what you're saying here, and I can tie back just in my experience with tech, and I see
Yes.
what you're saying, and I really, that's high level thinking right there, my friend.
It's fun. And like when I go to these things, I really go by myself. And so like I have a great team. Like I really buy into the leadership style of this is a corny phrase, but I think about it often. It's hard to fly with the eagles if you hang out with a bunch of turkeys. And so like, what does that mean? You gotta have an appetite for hiring people better than yourself. And so like if you can't do that, you're gonna stymie your company so fast. So like I have phenomenal people around me, smarter than me,
Love.
and they're hungry. We're all hungry, right? So like
Uh-huh.
when we go out to these events, it's like we're like a grenade that goes off, because they're not used to car folks. They're used to tech folks, right? So like
Sure.
when we come in, like we're coming in 1,000,000 miles an hour, and it's fun because they're not used to that. They're like, what? I was like, yeah. We're past that already. So keep going. I don't need this like 2-hour pitch. Like, what does it do? And it's fun. And then we always come back together and it's like, what'd you find? And so then we have these like sessions of trying to figure out, it's like, that's cool. Will it connect with our platform? And maybe not this year, and so on and so forth. And so like, and then we'll bring these down. And then I love to encourage my other leaders inside the organization, get out and do stuff. Like I'll cover the flight and the hotel if you want to go to an event. Like, but my only ask in return is you need to, like, I'm not looking for a book report, but you need to come back and pitch me what you learned. Like, come teach me. Like,
Yeah.
And like the funny thing is you offer that and most people don't take you up on it.
Yeah.
Some will, but there's enough, like inside of our leadership team, there's enough people going out to these events and bringing stuff back. And it's like, let's have a conversation. And that's how we stay forward thinking, it's a team effort.
A great answer.
Not all me. It's a lot of people.
Well, it's a trickle down.
It's trickle down.
Yeah, you're inspired and you're inspiring them to go out and do something similarly. And you're hoping that it trickles down to our front line who we want to go self-educate. We want them leveraging AI. I teach, leveraging AI for sales advisors, salespeople, BDC all the time, because I can't understand why we wouldn't use this tool, in our everyday to be more efficient. And here's the thing, you and I both used all these tools for a long time, but even our front line who doesn't know all the product or doesn't know all the ways to handle objections, or we have a new advisor who doesn't know the work that's going to be involved, but they got to go sell it. It's like, if we didn't have that mindset, innovative thought process, and we didn't have our management exploring tech and self-education, how would we then your result is that your front line does not adapt to tech today, and they don't know the tools. And I say to leadership all the time, you should be training on AI every day in your stores, how to use it, how to make it work for you, how to do your job better. But I imagine it's probably on everybody's phone in your store because of the way that you're thinking, your mentality here, and as I could see the whole chain there from your you going out there to the tech shows and really experiencing how other companies solve problems and looking to integrate them back into your organization to figure out how we're going to solve some of the biggest problems and try to stay ahead of it. I think it's very relevant, very progressive, right on point.
I love it. And it's addicting. Innovating is addicting. And if you find the right people around you, then it's like, if everyone's addicted to it, the only thing you have to be careful of is like, back to that change management thing. Like there is too much change too fast.
Take it down a notch. Let's do one at a time.
That's right. And especially with like edgy stuff. I used to love doing like full rollouts, and we're past that now.
Yeah.
Like, we've pushed ourselves to the point of like, we're very innovative at every single store. So now what I do is if I find something that's very interesting to me, I'll pull in a handful of GMs. I'm like, I want you to look at this.
Definitely.
And pick it apart, ask questions. And if any of you want to pilot this, I'm open to trying it if you want to. And, I might get 1 or 2 people to do it. And, after 90 days, it's like, I think 6 months is like a fair trial on most things, but I look at it after 90 days because the first 30 are always nothing.
Yeah. Rocky.
Yep. So look at 90. Hey, is the trend trending good? There's been some times where like, Ryan, this is bad.
But at the same time, you want to make sure that the vendor that you're selecting is actually working with you, and to get it to that smooth running, because that's half of it is support.
That's right. And I that's huge. I mean, I think that goes unspoken so many times is there's a lot of really good products out there that have this bad support. And it's like, what are you doing here? And just on the flip side, there's some really great support of bad products too. So it's just kind of like, how do we find a great product with a great support staff and like really make it work? And we look pretty heavy for that because we ask our partners, we ask a lot out of them, like we ask, we have green screens in every region. Like, will you sit on the green screen and talk about how to train on this? And we'll take it and we'll put it into LMS for training, and like, this is how you use this product, like from the mouth of the trainer. Right.
Right.
So that's our philosophy, at least.
Okay. We gotta bring this in. I could talk to you for days. We might have to do a part 2 in the future.
All right.
But tell me, okay, parting words, a lot of experience under your belt.
Yeah.
Looking ahead, what do you envision as the key differentiators for successful dealerships this next year? Or you could even bring it back to the next 6 months.
Oh man, good question. I think that, I'd preface it with this. If you're not experiencing massive front end new car sales growth right now, you're just missing it. So there's the pent up demand of new car sales so I love looking at the past and trying to find like trends of like where we're going to go in the future. So, 2020 through 2023, we'll say the SAR was not met by 5 million units annually or more. So
Go get 'em.
So like North America likes to sell, I'll say 15.7 to 16.2 cars a year. Like that's kind of been our number for a little while.
Yeah.
So, like the people like it, like right there. So that means in like a 3.5 to 4 year span, we missed a whole year of auto sales. So, anyone who studied economics knows it's still there. Like it just was never met. And so we're experiencing that now. Like this year, we're up 30% in new car sales after 6 months, 7 months into the year so far. The market's up 14%. So that tells me there's a lot of people not figuring this out yet. And it's because we're not adapting, so everything, my mindset is so much on like, it's adapting to meet customers' needs, and the customer wants a fast, but phenomenal, an awesome experience. They want to, driving relationships, awesome experience. That's what a consumer wants. And so with that being said, we're seeing this compression on front end profitability. That's fine. If you've been in the car business a lot, more than 7 years, that's very normal. So like, don't be afraid of that. So we're attacking that. We don't care what the front end of a new car sells. Truly, we just don't care. Get
them into service.
We want to, yes, that's what it is. We want to build it. We want to sell as many new and pre-owned cars as we can, and then service has to be sticky. Inside of service, and I'm excited about service as well because we're seeing service. The past 18 months have not been a phenomenal run in service, and my belief inside of that is we haven't sold those 15 million cars, that the average consumer is servicing cars and new cars from their first year to maybe their fourth year of ownership before they fall off. Like the stat that keeps me up at night is that 70% of every car on the road today services at independent.
That's
That
right.
means that 30%, I hate this, 30% of the cars on the road today are coming to new car service centers. Like I would like to general managers and to dealer principals, like, what are we going to do about this? Like, this is a problem that we have to attack, and we can't solve it. I put a survey out a year ago on my social media. I was like, why
It's
is
been tough.
this? Yeah. And the only thing that a new car dealer cannot, well, there's a couple things, but I think the biggest one is convenience. We can't have multiple service stations all over the town, which that's what we're competing against. Every corner, there's an independent shop. So like you need an oil change, you pull in, right? And so we can't do that. Most car dealers are on the same row in towns, so like, and unfortunately, they're normally the busiest part of towns that sometimes you want to avoid. So if you need to service your car, why would you want to go there? So we need to figure this out, whether it's mobile, whether it's pick up and drop off, that whole thing. You got to figure it out. So, and
a lot to unpack on that. There's a lot in that,
that's a
but
whole other
I
conversation.
agree. The quick lanes, need a lot of, how can we compete with them if they can just roll in and it takes 3 weeks to get an appointment?
Yeah.
How come it takes 3.5 hours for an oil change?
Yeah. I mean, like if that's still the case, that dealer needs to figure that out. Like
it's happening everywhere.
We completely removed our, so we slow but surely removed our limitations on appointments. And we're like, we're going to be really careful on this. We don't want to like overload the shop because customer experience would go down. Guess what? Fine. Like,
oh yeah.
In Chicago, in Indiana, in Wisconsin, it doesn't matter what region you're in. There could be some areas where you're just like, I just can't do that. And fine, that's great for you. Build a bigger shop, but we removed them. And so at any time, our customers are able to go in and make an appointment. There's no such thing as a 3-week appointment inside of our stores.
Yeah. Some stores do no appointments.
We actually push for that. We're like, you can have an appointment, but
because you were going to let those guys in anyway if they showed up.
Yeah.
Are you going to turn business away? I know.
So
true.
So we figured that out. I mean, what I don't know how to figure out is like, so one of my first jobs in automotive, I changed oil for 2 years at a Spur gas station. And the customer got out of their car, but I could do an oil change in 15 minutes, and I could do 2 at a time, and because it was just a 2-bay garage, and I could do 18 to 20 minutes was getting long if I could do 2 at the same time. So you can turn these things out fast. The problem is we keep building these monster dealerships, and that car, it takes time. You have to get it out of the service drive. You have to get it into the shop. You have to find the tech.
You have to have a technician.
You have to have a tech. Yeah, because now you have a handoff. Because when I was doing that, I was everything. Like they pulled into the. I was like to the right. Like I had them on the lift, right, and then I'd walk them out. But and we had to compete against that. Like there's a lot of like fast fives. You stay in the car.
Right.
We can't compete against that. Now we don't need all 70%.
No, but there's certainly a share. Yes. And a lot of it comes back to experience, because if they had a bad experience before, it's very difficult for them to come back to you. Yeah. And if they go get those tires somewhere else, they ain't coming back, So I do think that you're locking in on an area that has been a lifetime problem, and you're absolutely right. And going back to the sales side of it, I will say, it's not just about efficiencies, but I would challenge dealers to think about how are you teaching your team how to hunt? Because in the next 3 years, this is going to be a very important, what you just said, those deals are sitting there. Now you need to go out there and find them. And those people are in your database, and the guys aren't going after them. And that's 100%. Going to be an important skill set to leverage with efficiency, in my opinion.
I think that's huge. We often talk about like when you're looking at a problem or a solution, are we using data or are we using our guts? Like I can't tell you how many times I've heard someone get up and be like, I've been in the car business for 40 years. I know how to do this. And I was like, okay, and like he's for sale in a month, it's like, whoa, you didn't know how to do it. It's like, it's not. And like, I say that and I never to slight anyone. So I've been in the new car business for 20 years. And so like, I have a gut, like I have an idea of how things are going to go. But I also look at data, and the data drives my gut, and so like you got to use both. And like if you can't get over your gut feeling telling you,
great advice,
XYZ, you're in the business has passed you up, and you either need to reset and
rethink your strategy,
or you're going to find yourself passed really quick. I really think that's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen in the next 6 months, but I think in the next 2 years, you're going to see the progressive dealers fly so far past this old school mindset that they're going to be looking through the windows into what's happening. And they're like, I still don't know what they're doing. And it's like, how? Like literally, I'm on a soapbox on LinkedIn. I'm telling everyone what we're doing. And like a lot of people reach out to me. I'm just like, I want you to do it too. Like I'm really passionate about trying to get the car industry forward. Like
me too. Me too. That's what this is for.
Yeah.
You've definitely shed a lot of light on that balance between tradition and innovation in the auto industry. And I just want to say thank you so much for, well, I love all your posts. You have so much to share, and you guys are doing such great things for auto. You're great reflection of who we are and what we're trying to do, and the innovative mindset, and sharing just openly all of the things that you're doing and your experiences and vision for the future. Yeah, that was awesome, man. Thank you.
Fun. Yeah, absolutely. It was great. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks everyone for listening to Dealer Talk with Jen Suzuki. Don't forget, my weekly live classes are designed to keep your team fired up, skilled up, and focused on results. Subscribe right now at edealersolutions.com. See ya!